Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Frank and I am here with Lawrence McCord, the founder of Expediters Online. If you've done any research about expediting, you probably went to his website.
I thank you very much. I'm a humble.
That's how I want to tell you my story really quick.
Yeah.
So because it involves you, okay, with it indirectly. Now this is one of those things that you never know about because, you know, you set it up and it just kind of does its thing. I had my own authority and we were in a dually hauling cars and RVs.
Okay.
Had a CDLA. My wife had her CDLA. So I went on there, I started looking about the newbies forum and trying to figure out. And I was like, okay, there's a lot of people who wanted to buy 10-year-old vans and started expediting. And that really wasn't the way I wanted to go. Having no idea what I was doing, I went on this, and this is the post I made, and you're gonna laugh. I said, hey guys, we don't really fit the mold of what I've seen a lot on here. My wife and I both have a CDLA with air brake endorsement. We have a gypsy soul. We don't really like to go home that much. We just like to go where the wind takes us. We don't really want to buy a brand new truck because I don't want to make that kind of investment without knowing what's going on. Where do I start? Oh my God, you want to talk about my email blowing up. I mean, it was owners and companies and fleets and you wake up to that big red number on your phone and it's like a couple of hundred and you're like,
awesome,
oh my God.
Awesome.
But anyways, that's how I found out about you.
Okay, great.
And what I wanted to talk to you about, and I've wanted to do a short history, a brief history of everything expediting, okay?
Yep.
And I started asking around.
Nice.
Now, so enter you.
Okay.
You've been in the business. How did expediting come to be?
Sure.
How did it happen?
So, really, the entire expediting industry comes from one company that was actually started in 1948 in Akron, Ohio.
Okay.
And this company's name was Roberts Cartage.
Okay.
And Roberts Cartage did local pickup and delivery, and they eventually transitioned to just service the airports. They pick up air freight from the airport and deliver it locally in the Akron area. Fast forward to 1982, they got a new company president and CEO, and he came from the air freight background. As they were getting involved in this kind of really fast way of shipping things, this new president CEO wanted to take the company in a new direction, and they were seeing this trend really by at first Japanese automotive manufacturers were doing just in time, and that was the word at that time. And so this guy was a visionary. He saw that.
So just in time was a type of freight. So like LTL or whatever.
Right.
Kind of, is that timely manner?
Yeah, I mean it's now really what we call expedite, right?
Okay.
What is expedite? Here's a rule. If you ever want to know what real expedite freight is,
yes,
it's door to door. It's exclusive use.
Right.
It's time definite. In other words, we tell you exactly what time we pick it up, what time we deliver it, and then it's time critical. So there's a sense of urgency.
Okay.
That's what expedite freight is. And so he saw that this company or this trend was coming, and so they changed their name from Roberts Cartage to Roberts Express, and that's where what we know is expedite.
Which Roberts Express is the company that I drive for, bought out and became FedEx Custom Critical.
Right, that's right.
Okay.
So, and here's what's really amazing. Like, you know, we're here at the expo. Almost all these companies at one time either had a founder from Roberts Express. I mean, Roberts Express really grew this industry.
Right.
One company in Akron, Ohio, and I think that's an amazing story.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it makes you understand why there's so much when you see anything about expediting and you start Googling it, and Google still hasn't caught up to expediting because there's a lot of different meanings of expediting. You find all different types of stuff, and exclusive use. You start freight, then you really have to be very direct in the way that you're searching for this.
Yeah. So here's one thing that I know exactly what you're saying, because there was a time back, say in the early 90s, late 90s. Even in our industry, sometimes people would spell Expediter Expeditors.
Right.
Now, that is a specific job title that is not doing what we do.
Okay.
So
Now, what is that?
an expediter? Well, there's
ORS.
ORS, yeah. There's a few applications. One is within the food industry, but it's not in door-to-door expedite freight.
Right.
So when we came up with the name expeditersonline.com, we use ours with an E instead of an O intentionally. So now most people, when they spell expediter, they spell it with an E.
Right. So you created your own trend.
Well, we just want to be different. We want to say, hey, we are, we're expedite, we're door-to-door, time critical, time definite, exclusive use. That's us.
Okay. So you've got this company who starts Roberts Express, and that was what would you say, like 30 years ago, or was it longer than that?
Okay. As they were transitioning from about 82, they were full-blown expedite by 88.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, were they using what we see today, straight trucks? Were they using vans? What were they?
Wow. Yeah, that's a great question. They were primarily vans.
I've even seen pictures of Broncos.
Yeah. So, back in the day, they used minivans. I think there was even a few cars out there. But they had this one type of expediter van. As they were starting to transition to straight trucks before actually having class 6 medium duty trucks, they had these like E450.
Okay,
Ford,
the Ford vans.
And they had these like little tiny casket.
They were kind of like the cutaways, right? The box vans.
Yeah. And eventually they would have a little tiny casket sleeper that, literally you couldn't stand up in.
You kind of roll into it.
You roll into it, and it was, they were very uncomfortable.
Right. So that was the type of stuff that they were doing, and then roughly, I guess, about 16 years ago, was it when Custom Critical bought out Roberts?
Wow, has it been that long? I think Roberts was purchased in like 2003. So yeah. 15 years ago, 15, 16 years ago. Now, when they bought it, had other companies already mushroomed out of the Roberts Express model? Oh yeah.
Okay, so what was the first one that is maybe still around today that grew out of that? Because I know now we have Panther, we have Landstar and all, we have Bolt. Tri-Hours. I'm just pulling names out of the sky.
Everyone has been impacted or started from the Roberts Express route.
And what companies are out there now that have been around and stood the test of time a little bit?
I'm going to say every company here.
Yeah.
And now these are what we call enterprise level companies.
Right.
Some of them have gone public.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, I came into this and I didn't know what to expect. And my wife, like I said, we were in a dually, and we were driving team, and we were in hotels all the time, and I was just like, okay, there's got to be a better way to do this. We are a commodity as a team. Everything you see, it's like the best cents per mile, the bonuses, all recruiting. Not all recruiting, but a large portion of recruiting is geared toward teams.
Yep.
Especially now with the ELD mandates and stuff like that, it's really turned. We were a commodity before, and now we're just like, we're gold. It's like they will do whatever they need to keep us happy and keep us well paid and enjoy it. And fast forward to what you see now, we have a bathroom in our truck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have, we're talking about a $280,000 truck with a sleeper, with a reefer and everything. And the comfort level of these trucks has really, really gone up. And it's something that, makes it so that we're comfortable, which I heard you on Sirius with Heather and Jason, my friends, who are walking around back here. And, it's like, and like they said, when you're out there and you have a comfort level, you don't need to go home.
No.
And which is what these trucking companies, they love that. Yeah. Oh, we don't go home. Oh, we love you.
Yeah.
But take me through the transition of like when that happened, when these trucks and vans, when did we start seeing, bigger sleepers?
Sure. Well, at first we started as as freight, as manufacturers start to depend on Expedite, the shipments were getting bigger, right? So we were past the cargo van, we were past these little F450s, and now they wanted a regular box truck. They wanted at least a 20-foot box truck. So that's when we started seeing the Freightliner FL60s come on, and the sleepers, and this was a tipping point for this, the dynamics of the sleeper and the comfort of the sleepers. Once we started to go into teams, which when I started Expediter, it was rare to see a team. It was not
unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, and certainly at that time, I mean, back at Roberts Express, back in the day, if there was a 1,200-mile load that came up, you could take that 1,200-mile load.
Yeah, and that was a wild west. Solos don't do that anymore.
No.
They're very limited how many miles they can do in a day and things like that.
But here's what happened. Once those teams came on, the women said, you know what? I want some comfort. and so really, so the Expedite truck manufacturers stopped listening to you and me, and they were listening to our wives.
Right, because at the end of the day, the wife is going to make the buying decision.
That's it.
We're going to get get the engine we want. We're going to get the brakes. We're going to get the chassis we want. The length of the chassis and all the bells and whistles. But the comfort level and who signs the check is the wife that's making that decision.
Yeah, you get the engine, she gets the sleeper.
Right, exactly. So that's kind of the history of how I came to be, and that was it was Freightliner that started doing some of the integrated sleepers, right?
Actually, I mean, what would happen is a custom sleeper manufacturer would get that, because the OEMs weren't doing it.
Right.
So it was really.
So there was like Alumabunk. I used to hear Benz,
Double A,
ICT, and Bolt, and then Bolt. I don't know how old Bolt is, and of course ARI is in the game. So I mean, there's a lot of play in that field. Yourself now. That's the history of expediting. What was your experience? How did you come to be? I don't want to date you, and I don't want to put a date on you, but I mean, it's like I want to ask you, how did you find your way into this? Did you grow up in Ohio, Michigan?
No, actually, I grew up in Canada.
You grew up in Canada?
Yeah, so,
okay, cool.
Yeah, so I met my wife here, decided to stay here. We got married, and I went to college, and I dropped out.
Okay.
I wanted to see the country.
Right.
I'm like, I'm young. Let's take this opportunity. So I bought a single cargo van.
Do you remember how you found the opportunity?
Yes, I do. So I dropped out of school, did a local courier gig for a while, and then I saw this really unique van, a medium duty truck with this white globe on the top, and it looked like it was like a science fiction truck.
Yeah, it looked like something the government owned.
Sitting in a parking lot, and I went up to this guy. I said, I'm in my courier truck. And I'm like, what is that bubble up there? He's it's Qualcomm, and Roberts Express was the first company in the world to have Qualcomm satellites.
Wow.
So in addition to being innovative, the expedite industry has always embraced technology. So anyway, he told me about this, and I'm like, I'm fascinated by that. So I'm talking real fast here. So I contacted the recruiter, and at that time at Roberts Express, there was a 6-month to 1-year waiting list
to get in.
At all levels, because Roberts Express, it was just a fantastic, dynamic company. I mean, their logo was orange and brown, and if you talk to people back in the day who were at Roberts, we were very passionate about Roberts and being part of that. So So anyway, so that's how I got into it, and
What was your first vehicle?
It was a Ford E250.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ford E250.
Yeah.
No sleeper. Or
Nope.
did it have a sleeper?
Nope, didn't have a sleeper.
So when you did a run back, did you have to keep logs in that?
No
logs.
No CDL.
No CDL.
Yep.
Just like go to work.
Go to work.
Go make money.
Yeah. Easy.
So those are some of the changes that you've seen. What I guess recently with the ELD changes that went into effect, we've got a lot of tech that's coming down the road, which I've done videos on autonomous trucking. I've done videos on electric trucks. I mean, everybody's getting the game. Everybody's trying them. They see it coming down the road, the regulations and everything. the ELD is really, in my opinion, pushing. We're starting to feel that freight push where things that weren't emergency freight now are.
Yeah.
You know, right? Because there's a lot of freight sitting on the dock that's not getting picked up. So all of a sudden, hey, we need to get this delivered to the customer and enter the Expediters, right? And one of the things that I was talking to Mike Abood, and Mike was telling me, he goes, you know, some of the history was that, you know, when this started with the automotive, and he goes, it's changed so much that automotive is such a small percentage of what we do these days. And that pharma is just like blowing up, especially with the white glove editions that we do and stuff. It just, and it keeps growing and growing and growing. And the white glove is just, it's fascinating to me. And that FedEx brand is just, you know, it's like, you roll up with that FedEx brand, and it's like instant, like everybody stops. You know what I mean? You know, and we get a lot of hate for that, because we'll pull up and they want to unload us first after these trucks have been waiting there for 3 hours. And that's another nice thing about expediting. You pay a little bit more, so they want to get it off your truck a little bit quicker, and you usually don't wait as long to get loaded. So when I talk to teams that are coming from conventional trucking and stuff, they go, well, do you pay detention? I'm like, well, we don't really have detention. Not a lot of it. I mean, it happens, things happen, there's a human element. But what are you seeing? We know where we're at now. The growth is crazy. Freight is just out of hand. Teams are really desirable. I tell people, you know, people are emailing me all the time. They go, hey, how do I do what you do? And it has this sense of this air of mystery behind our industry, because it's growing, but it's still, people are like, ooh, how do I do that? What is that? What's that R2D2 up there, right? And that's what I did. I was like, oh, that looks like a government vehicle, you know? All those antennas.
Surveillance.
Yeah, exactly. So having seen what you've seen and the changes the last 10 years, what we're going through now and the changes, and of course it's still hard to recruit, it's still hard to get drivers. What do you see the next 10 years bringing to our industry?
Well, again, technology, right? You know, my opinion on, say, the whole automated vehicles, you know, I think there's going to be some of that, but, you know, if anyone's ever made a delivery in Manhattan, right? You know, making some of these turns with, you know, swarms of people, I think we're years away from that being a serious threat.
Especially in our industry with the type of stuff that we do. As you mentioned, it's door to door. We're not delivering to a warehouse where they're going to take our freight and go take it to the customer. We're delivering it directly to the customer. And these places, like you said, you can put as many sensors as you want on a vehicle, but when you got hundreds of vehicles swarming around your truck, how do what do you do with that? You know what I mean? You can only, will that technology exist someday? Maybe, probably. But I think we're going to be
being developed, and tested, right?
I just don't think that I think we're going to probably be one of the last ones to be affected. Now, your line haul, direct LTL, direct warehouse to warehouse. I think that's going to be the first thing that takes advantage of that. But are you seeing, what challenges do you see? Now, that's what you see coming, but what challenges do you see our industry facing? Anything?
Well, no, I could tell you something, because with Expediters Online, one of the services that we do provide for our industry is people coming in and choosing a carrier, right? And so the what's happening across the board is, and I like a lot of drivers don't really believe in the driver shortage. But there's something happening where the flow of people into the trucking industry in general is really a serious challenge, and so that's something we got to figure out. And the legislative force, isn't changing a whole lot. In fact, with the ELDs, we're seeing more, restrictive.
Yeah, more regulation.
Yeah, more regulation. So I'm not sure, and I'm not necessarily a fan of having 18-year-olds come in.
Yeah, it's scary.
I know they're adults, but who remembers when they were 18, right? And having...
I've got a 21-year-old. You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, so... Yeah,
I mean, he can't drive because of his driving record.
Yeah.
At 21. So I get it.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me. Guys, if you want to find them, it's expeditersonline.com with an E, Expediters with an E-E-R-S.
Yes.
And
or we have a shortcut. I love this one. It's eoforme.com. So that's the letter E-O, the number 4, me.com.
Okay, and I'll link that down below in the description so that they can find it.
And Frank, I want to say something to you. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. I mean,
thank you.
And how you do it. And, you know, one of the things that, even though we didn't say this, one of the things that we do with Expediters Online, what you guys are doing, is we're trying to communicate, you know, our industry, our lifestyle, the benefits, and the risk. And, you know, sometimes people criticize us that, you know, we just want to bring anyone into the industry. We don't. We want you to be educated. And you guys are doing a great job in doing that on your platform. And so 2 thumbs up to that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And that's one of the things that I wanted to do is let people know that this exists out here, because people don't know it. We're almost we're a hidden gem.
Yep.
And there's people out there that are killing. Okay, this is going to sound bad, and there's drivers out there driving 6,500, 7,000 miles a week as teens, right?
Yeah.
And they can come over here, make that same money, and drive half the miles, and have a lifestyle and enjoy themselves.
Yep.
My wife and I, we were in Myrtle Beach last week. You know what I mean? We go to New York City, we go to the Outer Banks, we're in LA one week. You know, everywhere in between, and we get to spend these times, and we get to share with our viewers. Hey, we're getting paid to do this. The cool thing is, and you know, on YouTube we have trolls to deal with us, and there's trolls on every website and everything.
Oh, but trust me, I know about trolls.
And you can go on to Expediters Online, and you can create a profile in the forums, and you can go in and you can ask detailed questions, or you can search the forum and find pretty much anything that you're looking for and get in. People don't understand, like, I went directly for FedEx Custom Critical because I'd seen the trucks and I knew what I wanted. But I had the advantage of being on the road and seeing the trucks and seeing the difference and talking to different drivers and kind of figuring out what would work best for my wife and I. But it's invaluable what you provide for these people to be able to come out and have a searchable forum where they can find things. And, you know, don't be shy, post your questions if you can't find a question, and expect that some jerk is going to probably be a smart butt and tell you something, because they exist in every walk of life.
It's the internet.
It's the internet. Everybody's a keyboard warrior, and they're like, oh, I'm a big bad dude, and I'm like, I can you know, flex on the internet. Whatever. Just, you know, if that bothered me, I'd stop doing this a long time ago. So just post your questions. Don't be afraid. You can email me if you have any questions. You can go to Expediters Online or EX4Me.
EO for me.
EO number 4 me.com. It's a shortcut for that, and you'll see there's people looking for drivers. Drivers looking for jobs.
Yeah, if you want to just get into the industry and don't buy a truck, we've got a lot of fleet owners in the classifieds and in the jobs area that are looking for people.
And you're a big proponent of that. What I did, I said I wanted to drive for a year and figure it out before, because, well, it's really tough to get a loan for one of these trucks anyways, because if you default on the loan, what are they going to do with a specialized truck like this anyway? It's not like a tractor.
So quick little side story, and this guy did not follow advice that we always promote on EO, but he came in, bought a Sprinter, and not just a Sprinter, like a fully loaded Sprinter. And he emailed us 5 days later, and he said, I'm done. It's for sale. 5 days.
5 days.
5 days. And I think that's a record. So we definitely encourage, you know, try before you buy.
Definitely. Well, again, thank you very much. If you guys liked the video, make sure you give us a thumbs up. If you haven't done so, please subscribe, and make sure you go check out Lawrence's site, Expediters Online. Thank you very much.
Hey, it was a pleasure. Thank you, and
we'll see you again soon, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.